Atlantic Council senior fellow Ellen Wald making the case that the Aramco IPO compels the Saudis to pump more oil. Writing in a Bloomberg opinion column, she says the following: with a focus on share price and optimizing the amount of cash the monarchy can make from future share sales, Aramco has reason to enhance its revenue and profits in the short term. The best way to do this is for the company to increase oil production. As the de facto leader of OPEC, we can expect these new incentives to factor into Saudi Arabia's preferred oil policies from here on out. Ellen joins us now from Vienna. Ellen, I'd love for you to continue this conversation because I find this fascinating. Talk to me about how this dynamic at OPEC is actually going to evolve and whether we're going to get any pushback from other delegates.
Well, I do think we will see pushback from delegates, particularly down the line. So right now, after the IPO goes live, after shares start trading, there is a lockup period for before Saudi Arabia can sell more shares. But we know for a fact that the Saudis intend to sell more shares of Aramco. They want to monetize this company. And when that happens, they're going to have to act like any other oil company, and they're going to need to show revenue growth. And the best way to do that in this oil market is to sell more oil, particularly for Aramco, because they can show a much higher revenue growth because it costs so little for them to pump a barrel of oil. Keeping in mind that in this oil market, we've got concerns over demand growth and demand weakness we're likely going to see, but also the fact that when that they need to show a revenue growth in quarterly results, and the easiest way for them to do that is to pump more oil. It's very hard for them to push up the price of oil through cutting production, and we're seeing that at this OPEC meeting. Look how hard it is to get anyone to agree to cut, or to agree to a cut, much less actually cut. And then how much of a bump can we actually expect in oil prices, particularly given the fact that there are so many non-OPEC producers out there on the market today.
Ellen, I know it's very, very noisy behind you, so I'll fit one more question in and I'll let you go. Just in terms of that going forward, do you think the idea of stranded assets factors into any of the thinking whatsoever, at least in the short, medium term, or is this a very long-term issue still?
Well, I do think it is a long-term issue. In the long term, Aramco is best positioned to be an oil company, to produce revenue, to show profits. They are well positioned for that. But at the same time, we really, it's a difficult market to predict. And I do think that the Saudis have an incentive to sell more shares on the market sooner rather than later to prevent any kind of longer losses from happening.